Hello everyone, welcome to the trailer channel. Today I have a little bit of an interesting video. Well, not really that interesting, but a question I'm sure millions of people have asked. Can you install Linux, or specifically Linux Mint, on a Fiery? That would be a lie. There's probably only one person that's asked that, and one weirdo that's asked that, and that weirdo is me. Because I happen to have one of these. Rizzo Color Express Fiery. Now, what is this? It looks like some computer looking thing. And you'd be right. We'll get into that in a minute. This is an image processor for, obviously, some of these go on photocopiers, but this one in particular is for a Rizzo. Now we are going to be taking a look inside this machine, and it looks like it does support the disk I have. Let me go ahead and grab that. So I have Linux Mint 18.3, so apparently sometime in 2018 I was messing around with Linux Mint and burnt it onto this disk here. And well, we have a disk drive already on this thing. But I think I have Windows 10 on it. Right now, Windows 10 ameliorated. These come with some sort of Windows 10 and software, so you will be seeing that the hardware in this machine isn't very advanced in any sort of way, but you're paying for the specialized hardware like this button and the screens on top, not to mention the software that you would have on the disk, but I don't have that no more. Anyway, it's also a cool little USB port on the front. You have a, I would assume, reset button and power button, which would make this a really cool case for like a gaming computer. If we flip it around, we have a sticker here. Nothing really that interesting. If we flip it around to the back, you can see we have a fan up top, motherboard. Apparently this would be for the DVI connector, but this is VGA only. A whopping 6 USB ports, a Ethernet port that goes to the printer, an Ethernet port that, well, goes to Ethernet, and then some PCI slot stuff here, which is not a standard PCI slot. This is what standard PCI slot looks like. So, in theory, you could jam a graphics card in here if you took this off or modified it in some measurable way. And last but not least, power supply is on the bottom, which mimics a more modern computer design. And as far as I know, this is a replaceable part. So, if I wanted to, because I think this is only like 160 watt power supply, which you'll see, it's perfectly fine for this powerhouse. Now, when I got this machine, it was brand new. And it even had the little cover, the plastic for the screen, but I took it off, and since then it has gotten a scratch, and I have no idea how it got it. So I have been taking very good care of this case, because I want to make it into a gaming computer later. I want to take these guts that are in here out and drop as powerful as I can on a reasonable budget and make myself a decent little gaming machine with this case one day. But not today, certainly not tomorrow, but one day, maybe on this channel when I get better at doing this. But yeah, this doesn't actually work because I deleted all the software that runs this. Not like it would have worked anyway, because it wouldn't have ever connected up to, well, the machine it wants to connect up to. So you might as well just format it and use it as a regular computer, which, might be fine for grandma checking your emails. You'll see. But, I'm pretty sure this machine at least costed at least $1,000 at the minimum. Just because of the specialized hardware and software. Company gotta make that money somewhere. So, let's take a look at what's inside this beast. You will see a shocking resemblance to literally any other computer if you've seen inside one. At least one with a stock Intel cooler. And the grand unveiling. I'm not going to lie, that's a cool panel to take the side cover off of. And you can't see shit. Wonderful. There we go. I don't really have a good place to set this. So, yeah. It's got to go way over here. There. You will see. There is our cooling source, which looks suspiciously similar to, you know, everyone's favorite cooler. The Intel stock cooler. I took the fan off of mine. I could potentially still plug the freaking fan up in here and have extra circulation for like a GPU or something. But yeah, this is what I was saying. Looks like you have the option to stuff a GPU in here if you removed or made a PCI bracket for it. You have one USB port for the USB plug up front, one for this top screen up here, which I am going to leave plugged up for now for the video. And then we have an orange one going up to the optical drive, orange SATA cable, and then a red one going up to a 500 gig, 7200 RPM hard drive. Then I think we have another PCIe slot here, which would be useful for like a USB 3.0 card or something. And an 8 gigabyte stick of, I think, DDR3 RAM. And I think there's an i3 underneath here with a 2-core, 4-thread processor. Yeah, and this motherboard size is a Flex ATX motherboard. And as you can see, this uses 24-pin motherboard and 4-pin CPU power. So, in reality, if your power supply went out, you could very well just take this power supply out, run the cables to this back here, and run a full-size power supply like this. Yeah, there's no way you're jamming that in there. But in theory, it's possible. So we are going to be seeing if this DVD drive works, because I have no idea if it does. And let's not forget the exhaust fan up here, which is connected to the motherboard, which is also the fan as well is connected to the motherboard. So yeah, enough gab. You've seen what's inside of this beast. I guess the only thing now to do, put the side panel back on. Wait a minute. Yeah, it gives you a schematic right there about these things. There you go, if you want to read it. Now, this thing is not quiet by any stretch of the imagination, but it does work. You know, let's get this thing booted up, see what all I did to it when it was running Windows 10. We'll check out the specs, and then, well, we'll get to work installing Linux Mint. Figured I would show you putting the side panel back on. There's a lot of computers where this step is really difficult. Look at how easy that was. I picked up a computer at a scrapyard one time. The case is very difficult to put back on. And the reason why I'm doing this is because, well, it's just sitting around. I'd like to see it run again. And sorry, but this will be the last quiet point in the video before I have to turn the AC unit on. So I'm starting to sweat a little bit. And it's also noticeable that the top comes up and curves on its way down, which makes it look a little bit cooler, in my opinion. Okay, friends. It's just about time to start it up. There we go. Let's flip the switch around back. I should see my lights flicker. That is normal. Do not panic. Lights do not flicker because the power supply is so small. Anyway, key on tact. I hope it's plugged up. Yep, it's plugged up. There we are. See, that's a Western Digital drive. Interesting. Pretty quick BIOS initialization. I've seen slower. Okay, so apparently I enacted auto log on. Okay. Not sure why I have drivers on here. So, yeah. I didn't install, what's it called? Ethernet drivers. Let's see what version of Chrome this is before we look at the specs, because I'm actually curious. This may give us a date of when I last used this machine. 91. Okay. CPU Z, this will give us a good idea of what machine we're actually dealing with here. Fortunately, there we go. Yeah, you can see it is a 350 gigahertz. Wow. Well, not 350, 3.5 gigahertz. That is not bad. Actually, kind of impressive for a dual core. I think that's the fastest dual core I have. But this is the kicker here. DDR3 single channel RAM, only 8 gigabytes. Otherwise, I potentially could have upgraded the CPU later, threw in another 8 gig stick of RAM, threw in my graphics card, and I could have been using this as my gaming machine. But because I can't, they didn't populate another slot on the board, they only gave you single channel RAM, I literally cannot upgrade this much more. But I think we might be able to put like a, if I did some butchery to this machine, I could potentially squeeze a micro ATX motherboard in here. And there you go. Let's see. I think this machine was made in 2019. Apparently that DDR3 memory was made in 2010. Microsoft Windows 10 64-bit. Yep. This is Windows 10 ameliorated. As you see here. And I will even pull up Task Manager for you all, so you can see just what this thing runs at. Check that out. Almost zero CPU usage, 1 gigabyte of memory, and almost zero of the hard drive. That is what I expect to see from this install. Which, I mean, we may not end up wiping this drive. One thing I may need to do is disable Viasat browser update so it doesn't update anymore, because, you know, then I'll lose my ad blocking capability if I do decide to use this machine as is for something. Now, I think it would be cool to try to make a computer out of this machine. Like a low-budget gaming computer, but I already have one lined up for that. So, I guess what I want to do first, off camera, I'm going to go ahead and take care of that so it don't update when I plug it up to the internet, so it stays on version 91. And then we install Linux Mint 18.3 alongside Windows 10, because this is a 500 gig hard drive, 7200 as well, I believe. So it's very relatively quick. Oh, that, and it only uses 16 gigabytes of memory with this install, plus the little bit of crap that I have installed. I think I uninstalled everything else except that. I must have forgot that. Anyway. Yeah. Now, while it's still up, I will give you a view of the top of this machine and what the LCD display says. Fortunately, there we go. Yeah, you can make it out. It only blinks orange, and it says EFI Fiery starting up. None of the buttons do anything. It just kind of sits there. Because, well, I don't have the software installed. Chances are I may end up unplugging this screen, because I think it shuts down the computer after a little while. But yeah, this is all it does. because I don't have the software installed and I don't have a machine for this to connect to. So this is kind of irrelevant. And I don't know if you can even, hack it and make it display stuff like CPU status, temperature, whatever. As cool as it would be, I don't think you can. Oh, well, maybe someone could, but I definitely can't. I just mess around with old junk that was about to go into a dumpster. Because, even though this was brand new, it was about to go into a dumpster. Yeah. So apparently this thing's complaining about drive errors for some reason. And I tried using Windows Vista to delete my Viasat browser update, but that won't work. So let's go ahead, go into Linux Mint, because it has the live environment. I should be able to delete it from there anyway. Nice little optical drive. It seems very fast too. And that's it. Let's go ahead, restart, and see you at the boot screen. It should automatically boot from the optical drive. And it did not. Okay, that's concerning. Nah, I don't want to check the disk right now. I just want you to boot into Linux Mint. But I don't know if it's going to do that or not. So let's just go ahead and shut down. So maybe that's part of the problem. See, a BIOS date is from 2015. No, it doesn't. Ah. So annoying. That is a 7200 RPM drive. Oh, that would be why. Anyone want to guess why? Yeah, because it doesn't exist. I must have erased this at some point in time. Good thing we decided to check. So, I'm going to go ahead and burn it back to Linux Mint. I think I have that ISO on my hard drive. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to install CD Burner XP, and then I'm going to install or copy over the ISO for Linux Mint. I'll be back when that's done. Okay, so here we are, CD Burner XP. Unfortunately, I had to download the ISO file because I did not have it, but I do have it now. So let's go ahead and burn this image. Browse. There we go. This is only going to burn it 2 times, so this will take literally forever, but I do not care because I have something to do while this is burning, and I'll see you when the disk is finished burning. Not enough free space on the disk, yes. Fast, yeah. Erase disk. I'm gonna be disappointed if I have to end up using another disk anyway. Anyway, you get the deal. Once this finishes erasing, hopefully it automatically starts burning the disk, because that is going to... Okay, well never mind, it just finished. And there we go. It's going to burn the disk, and I'll come back in about an hour or so. That's probably how long this is going to take. Something beautiful about these two lights blinking at the same time in different patterns. Wouldn't you agree? Okay, so it is done, and it has ejected the disk for me. So what we are going to do is we are going to pretend that this was burnt on here the whole time, and that none of this ever had to happen. Okay, so we're just gonna shut down the machine, power it back up, throw this in the drive, and we should be good to go. Okay, then we press the power button, which you can't see because it's not low enough. There we go. Power button. Optical drive. Wow, that was quick. Quickly, get it in there. Okay, now it should boot from the optical drive. Yes! It's going to be extremely slow. I understand that. But of course, I don't really care. We just want to see if it will install alongside Windows 10, because, well, why not? I mean, it was going into a dumpster. It's not like, you know, I'm ruining something with value here. I already kind of have by wiping it. But regardless, looks like it still works just fine. You can't really see it because it's so washed out. And that did not help. Oh well. Yeah, maybe it would have been faster doing it via USB, but, you know, it's kind of interesting about one of the comments on one of my earlier videos, the React OS machine. Someone found it interesting that I still use these discs for, you know, stuff. This isn't one that I burned, it's one that I got out of a machine, but, you know. And to that I have to say, well, I don't really like using USBs. I forgot to connect it to the internet. Oh well. This disk is going to be slow enough, it doesn't really matter anyway. This is taking forever. I'm going to edit most of this out, I'm pretty sure. So I gotta learn to stop rambling when nothing is happening. So I don't know what took me so long to get it, but it's in program files x86, Viasat, and browser update, and then you can see this is the stuff we need to remove and delete. There it is. It's gone. My browser will no longer update when I connect this thing to the internet. Now, let's go ahead and install Linux Mint. I clicked on that. No, it is, because the disk is spinning up, and it's going to take a while. And see just how long it's taking. This is going to take maybe over an hour to install, which is fine, because I have a game running on the Scrapmaster. Okay, continue button is now lit up. I'm not going to install third-party hardware, because there are no graphics, there are no Wi-Fi hardware. And Flash and MP3 and other media doesn't really matter, because I'm not going to be doing any of that with this machine. Okay, install Linux Mint alongside Windows 10, of course. And then this is how you can choose how much. So I'm going to give Linux Mint 100 gigabytes, and Windows 10 can have the rest. I'll make it 150. Because chances are I may actually end up taking this drive out of this system and stuffing something smaller in it. It's 500 gigs for this system. I just really don't need all that to install. So I guess we're going to install it on a 150 gigabyte partition and then a 346 gigabyte partition for the other one for Windows. Install now, I guess. Doesn't matter because there's nothing really on this install that I particularly want except my browser, because you aren't really going to be able to get an old version of that. As per usual, New York, even though that's nowhere where I am. I think you'd have to pay me to live there. Okay, QTC. We're going to do EFI. There we go. Your username, TTC. Choose a password. If you watch Duraga 1, you will know what that password is. Now it is going to install, hopefully. Looks like it was installing the entire time we were doing that. So, this is going to take the next part of the next 10,000 years. So, I'm just going to let it run while I play my game over here. So here we have the infamous screen. Installation is finished. You can continue testing now, or you can restart and we can see the new Grub bootloader. Remove installation media. This will go on the pile of DVDs. And press enter. There we are. We have Windows 10 loader. We'll test that after we check out what Linux Mint has to offer. Hopefully I don't forget the password on this, but I should have been able to hint it to myself enough. Here we are. Okay, so I thought it made a sound when it started up, but apparently it didn't. Let's go directly to drivers. Drivers cannot be installed. Oh, that's right, because it needs to connect to the internet. Okay, well, let me get that plugged in. Ouch. I don't know where it is. There it is. Okay, there we go. It's connected to the internet now. See? I plugged it in. Okay. I suppose first thing we should do is try an update. Let me see if I can get rid of that. That stupid rainbow effect for you all. There we go. Minimized it. And so microcode. That never worked. So it's not what we can do about the drivers or brightness. And update manager. Never. I haven't used this in years. The upgrade manager. Okay, this password is starting to get really annoying. I forgot, that's why I don't use Linux Mint no more. Or Linux mostly in general. Because it always asks the password for everything. And I'd rather just click it and go. And there we are. That's a lot of stuff that needs to be updated. So Cinnamon desktop environment. Yeah, let's go ahead and do everything. Yeah, everything. If it breaks, oh well. I don't care. This may be a mistake, updating all these through this trailer's internet. And more password. Yay. At least 3 keys are right next to each other that I need to make that password. So it's not that bad, I guess. It might actually be a relatively more secure password than just 1 letter, which is what I normally use. Yeah, it's not that much more difficult to type in. Okay. Well, this is going to be a while, so let's go ahead and let this update, and then we'll check it out and see what we got. Okay, so it is now finished. Let's go ahead and restart it. And also, let's take a notice of what this start menu looks like, because that may change. I kind of like the skeuomorphic design. Go ahead and restart. Let's just see how fast it takes to start up off of this hard drive. Thinks this is faster than what's on the old Office PC, but we may have to try this OS at a later date on the old Office PC series. Just as a comparison to, you know. Oh, that's right. It ain't gonna be that accurate. Looks exactly the same. Okay. It wasn't that quick, but we just got finished installing a bunch of applications. Try Firefox, see what version that is. It should be the most up-to-date one you can get. And this dark mode is hurting my eyes. Let's change it to something lighter. I am not used to this, as you can tell, themes. Let's change it to blue. I don't know why, but blue is just so much better. Perfect. Oh, that looks nice. Yeah, I'm gonna keep this. EOL. Your version of Linux Mint is no longer supported. Oh no. What version is it? Help. About Firefox. 88. Okay, not bad. So, here we are. Next Mint 18.3. Let's see what we can find here. What was it? I forget what it's called. System monitor. Resources. Here we are. Wait, what? Why does it say there's... Maybe this is a 4-core processor. I don't know. But you can see very low CPU usage overall. And only a gig of memory used. And why is there network travel? There shouldn't be any of that. Whatever. Let's see. Isn't there like a package manager or something? Aha! Gpart. If you're going to install Linux, you might as well install Gparted. It's just, you have to. There's no way around it, okay? Sometimes, if you have a drive that's acting funny, and you don't really need the data on it, you can just format it with Gparted, and it sometimes brings those drives back to life. That was quick. Let's see if it works. Yeah, it works beautifully. I wish this was on Windows, honestly. Information. Is there? Okay, not the information I was hoping about. 0.2.5. Okay. So, there it is. Linux Mint on the EFI Fiery for a Rizzo ComColor Express. Obviously, we don't have sound. We don't have video drivers. Actually, let's try to adjust the resolution. It always takes me a little while. Hardware. Display. Yeah, we don't have graphics, so you'd need to find a graphics card that can fit in this system. It's low profile and supports your version of Linux. And a sound card for that PCIe 4 times, I think it is, slot. Although, realistically, with 6 USB ports on the back, 1 on the front, and unplug that screen up top, you have a good amount of USB ports. You could probably put one inside and then just take one of the PCI brackets out and run a cable out the back of that. Either way. So no sound, no video drivers, which is 2 of the 3 things you need for a working computer, and Ethernet. Now, I say working computer. You could very well use this just for checking emails. And as long as you don't want sound, although sound is an easy fix, really. You could just plug in a USB drive and be off on your way, but you're kind of going to be stuck in this resolution of 1024 by 768 unless you install a graphics card, which, as I said, would be difficult because it doesn't use standard PCI bracket. But there we are. Shut down anyway. This is Linux Mint on the EFI Fiery. See? It still says starting up. It's always going to say that because it's expecting to be recognized by software, even though it doesn't work anymore. Are you going to shut down today? Why is it Linux never likes me? There it goes. And it's out. You see, buttons do nothing. Although, I can press the power button, start it back up, but I'm not going to. And there's your USB port.